Okay, I'd like to welcome everybody to the Board of Health meeting. Please take note this meeting's being taped by WRPS. Today's Wednesday, April 22nd, 2026. In attendance is myself, Michelle Kennedy, and our new member, Jennifer Louise Smith. And I'd like to welcome you to the board.
Thank you, Michelle.
We're gonna take the agenda a little bit out of order, if we may. Specifically, I'm requesting that we move the board's reorg to the beginning of the meeting ahead of all the other scheduled items. This allows us to establish leadership roles and ensure the meeting proceeds efficiently under newly organized structure. So I'm gonna make a motion. Do I have a second?
Second, yes.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so, for chairman, do we have any motions for chairman?
Yes, I would motion for you for
Okay.
chair.
I accept the motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I'd like to recommend, Jennifer for vice chair. I'd like to make that motion.
I second that.
All those in favor? Aye. Okay. The roll call again is Jennifer, and myself, Michelle Kennedy. The first on our agenda is trash abatements for.
Just 1 second.
Yep.
Chairman. I just want to get the signature page out of the way.
Okay.
This is the signature list for fiscal year, the rest of fiscal year 26.
Okay.
So this just shows that your signatures are, and just be careful because I thought you were second, you're a little in the middle.
Okay,
Right here.
okay.
Thank you very much, ladies. So, just so you know, payroll is done in the office, and vouchers, or bail payments are also done in the office.
Okay, so first on the agenda, we do have trash abatements for April 26, 2026 to approve and deny. I've already had a chance to look over them. Have you had a chance to look over the abatements?
Yes.
Okay. I make a motion to approve the trash abatements.
I second that motion.
All those in favor? Aye.
Amy and I will both start putting names on letterheads and
Okay. Next on the agenda, we do have meeting minutes. There hasn't been any meetings, so we don't have any minutes to sign. So there's nothing for us to vote on that, correct?
correct.
Okay. Next, under new business, we have South Shore Tobacco Coordinator Kathleen Mahoney. Discussion on current tobacco regulations and the kratom ban discussion.
Yes, thank you. A couple of things I wanted to bring up. First is the way that we're gonna change, the way we enforce tobacco laws. It's an administrative change, so it's not up for, a vote, a policy change, a regulation. This is not new, as I said, so it doesn't require the vote. What it is, I'll give you a little bit of background. Before we looked at this closer, we were testing all these products that were coming on the shelves. You're not supposed to have flavored products here in Massachusetts. We're finding that the products that were coming in were saying clear, but once we tested them, they were indeed flavored. I tested them with my collaborative, I've tested them with my colleagues throughout Massachusetts. So we had sent out, yes,
I just want to interrupt real quick, and that, again, is not the shop owners, that is actually coming from
the
the
manufacturers.
manufacturer, okay.
And they have done their best to follow the regulations and get manufacturer letters. but unfortunately, those letters were not always saying the truth once we tried them. So, under the Massachusetts law and with the permits, you have to follow federal, state, and local law in order to have your permit. So right now, in the United States, you have to have a manufacturer granted order from the FDA to legally sell these products in the United States. So what we're doing is if they do not have the manufacturer's granted order, they cannot sell these products. We have a list, we have a link that they can go to and check. So we're asking that they remove these products from the shelves. I would like to give the shop owners time to remove the products from the shelf that are not currently granted through the FDA marketing orders, or authorized, I should say.
And how much time are you giving them?
I was
Like a
thinking,
leeway?
since it's been a little bit of time, I've already passed this in other towns, I was thinking July 15th. But just, you know, in this, the FDA has determined that Zin Chill is one of the flavors. We have tested Zin Chill ourselves, and we have deemed it a flavor, but the FDA has the scientific backing of it. So Zin Chill will be involved with that. That's why I wanted to bring it to your attention, because you probably will get some kickback about that. They can still do Zin Smooth, but Zin Chill is considered a flavor.
Now, when you say that you give it them to July 15th, that means that all establishment can sell these products
Until then,
until then?
yep. And that's being very generous. Some towns have
30
stopped it.
days and 2
Yeah.
days, yeah. So we've got some time to clean up our stores.
Yep. Unless you guys want a different date, but I think we're started a little bit later than most towns. I'd say July 15th is very generous.
I agree.
I would agree too.
And tonight, I just want to move on to a couple of things on tobacco regs. It has been some time since we've updated Rockland, so I'd like to maybe look through some of these and update them and present you guys with the draft that you can vote on at the public meeting. But just a couple things I'm thinking of is capping how many permits in Rockland, capping how many adult-only retail tobacco stores are allowed in Rockland, density, how many feet a retailer can be from a school. Of course, if that retailer is currently by a school, we're not gonna have them shut down or anything, but I'll a specific language that you guys can look over and say yes, no. I'll have that all laid out in a draft for you to vote on. Smoking bars are currently,
Banned.
yes, but they're in the workplace regulations. I just wanna switch them over also
Oh, I thought
to
about
the
that.
tobacco regulations. And that's about it for now. I'm just gonna look through more detail and I'll give you guys everything of what you can
All
vote
laid
on.
out.
Yeah. And then,
The capping of the establishment is a positive thing for people that already have smoking establishments, right? So you guys won't have to compete against.
and also the density too, I should say, we can also bring it up to not, you can't have another permit within so many feet of a current permit, cause that way a store's not gonna open up right next door to another store that's already selling tobacco and taking some of their business away.
Have other towns done this?
Yes, many,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
And then, so now I will just touch on Kratom a little bit. So we have a draft written up on Kratom, of how to ban it in Rockland. We're concerned about it, and I'll touch base quickly because I've gotten a lot of testimony through every town, other states, about how addictive it can be.
Mhm.
As we know, it came from a leaf in Malaysia that the workers would chew on it to take care of pain, give them some, a boost. But unfortunately, it's come here, and they've added different synthetic chemicals that now it's becoming extremely addictive. It goes right for the opioid receptors. And I'm seeing it not only in grown adults, I'm seeing it young children. I've talked to doctors that they're addictive, they treat addiction, and they're currently treating a high amount of
Kratom.
patients for it, unfortunately. I will have in my PowerPoint that night, I'll have all the information about it, the pros, the cons, we can have people talk about it. I've talked to some of the retailers, some of them don't even know what they're selling, some of them do. but this is the most common one that you'll see everywhere. And then this is one that I just picked up in a liquor store, and I would have no idea what that is, that was addicted, or there was an issue with it.
Blue raspberry.
Yeah.
I would love to say how much you're supposed to take, but my eyes aren't that good. But you're supposed to take a smaller amount than one pill, and people are, in this, you're supposed to take a very small amount, and people are taking the whole thing.
And is it true that, and I'm not sure, but is the liquid more potent than the?
I'd have to look it up. Unfortunately, they're coming in every day, different potency, that it's becoming a real issue. I've gotten letters from mothers that have lost their children. I have letters from moms that their husbands are addicted and it's affecting their family. And it's just not one or two, it's a lot. I know there are people out there that are for this. That's something that I'll go over in the public meeting, because I'd like everybody to have their voice. I know it's gonna affect the retailers here, but I'm more concerned about the Rockland community.
Agreed.
And I put some helpful information in your packets, because I know there's a lot of concern, the supporters, so I put supporters' emails and such in your packets. And a lot of them are saying, let's just ban the, what is it, 07?
7OH,
70H, and not the leaf.
like the pure leaf, but we've come into that, that even if you ban the 7OH, you might put something else in it, so we just wanted to ban everything. And my point about that is, going back to flavors in Massachusetts, they said it's clear, it's not flavored. And now we have hundreds of different products that are indeed flavored. So I'm just worried if we don't ban this altogether in the regulation that we're gonna propose, that it's just might go into something else that they can easily get and become addicted to.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions?
No,
for Kathleen?
I don't.
Okay, so, does anybody else have any questions? I wanna open it up if anybody has a question for Kathleen, just a quick question. No, we're gonna be going over this again in the future, but, to be determined. Alright, so we're gonna move next.
I just wanna also remind them that, even though the email that I sent you, the regulations, the draft regulations are on the website. You guys got that link in your email. A legal notice went out, and then the public hearing will be May 6th. Same place, 6 o'clock.
You'll need more chairs, probably.
More chairs? You think so, Chip? Should we get the high school?
Standing room only?
I've had different meetings and the outcome that I thought were absolutely opposite, and I was like, wow. And then another little community that I had, a lot of the community showed up, so you never do know.
Well, she had 32 people in the Zoom meeting last week, so that was a couple weeks ago, so.
Yeah,
That was record breaking, wasn't
that's
it?
right, that's right.
People were there just for the popcorn.
Okay, so we're gonna move on to meeting days for 2026, that would be, for you and I.
Okay.
Mondays and Wednesdays work for me, I'm not sure if that works for you.
Wednesdays are good for me.
Okay,
Yeah.
so if we wanna put down Wednesdays, do you wanna
Yeah, I
Open the
will, yes. We
do
will get,
Wednesdays work for you?
Yes.
yeah, I
Okay.
will,
We'll put some dates together.
for the
and
May
then-
meeting.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, and next on the agenda is cap-in residential kitchen permits allowed in the town of Rockland. I will throw that
Yes.
over to Dalshawn.
Okay, so at this time, the town of Rockland currently has 7 permitted residential kitchens in operation. While these have been allowed under existing public health authority, it's important to note that we do not have formal zoning regulations in place to fully support and govern this type of use. As it stands, our current regulatory framework is limited and does not provide the level of oversight needed to ensure consistency, fairness, and public health protection. Residential kitchens operate very differently than your traditional food establishment. For example, commercial facilities where inspections occur anytime. Residential inspections must be scheduled with homeowners. This limits our ability to observe the full scope of their operation as they naturally occur and may prevent us from identifying potential violations. Additionally, there are gaps in the current regulations that need to be strengthened. These include clarifying eligibility requirements, such as requiring that the residential kitchen operator be the owner of the home, as well as establishing more robust standards for food safety. Given these limitations, it would be premature to expand the number of permanent residential kitchens at this time. Therefore, I am recommending that we temporarily cap the number of residential kitchen permits at 7, which reflects our current level, until we're able to develop and adopt stronger, more comprehensive regulations. This approach allows us to maintain control, protect public health, and ensure we are setting both operators and the town up for long-term success. I promote everybody doing their own businesses and such. It's just really hard. Right now, when I looked this morning, when I started doing these regulations and capping them, we only had 7. Now there's 3 more pending that have to go through zoning, and they have to go through zoning and get and I knew I was gonna forget this word, not a special assessment, but some kind of zoning to allow them, because we don't have zoning for cottage kitchens / residential kitchens. So I'm just asking the board, as a public health department, we are allowed to strengthen our local regulations. We just can't go weaker. So it wouldn't be a bad thing if the board was able to say, the operators have to be the owner of the home, and also let's wait and see what happens at special town meeting when they do add this in.
So my only concern with that, and I do agree with that, is that as we see social media pop-ups come up with people selling food on social media, I think we'll see a lot more of that.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think that maybe we need to put something into place to be able to monitor that.
That's why I'm asking for that cap. Right now, residential kitchens really only have to be inspected once a year. It's hard for the inspector to schedule an appointment, and you don't see what's going on. You don't see their operation or anything like that. So it's just easier for the office and actually the town, because we don't have really strong.
But I think you just misinterpreted what I'm saying, is that I think that when we do a cap or put some stricter regulations in, we're gonna see more people popping up on social media selling food or selling baked goods.
I don't think so. I don't.
No?
No, I think if they're gonna do it, they're gonna do it now anyway. And there are so many people. You see them,
I do.
and then you tell them to come in and get a permit, and they don't. But are they really stopping? There's no proof.
Right.
So it's really hard to regulate. I would love to do away with all of them.
Okay. Any questions?
No, not at this moment.
Would the board be okay with capping it at this time?
Do you want us to do a vote to cap it for 7?
I would like to.
Okay. So I'm in agreement with that, so I'll make a motion to cap residential kitchens at 7.
Until we get a stronger zoning enforcement behind it.
Yes, I second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And then later on, you guys can strengthen the regulations as to making them a homeowner and whatever.
Next on the agenda is vouchers, and I'll send that over to Delshon as well.
These are Amy's favorite things to talk about, the vouchers. They consume a lot of our time. And you'll see this just by the numbers that I read. I am writing to provide an overview of the 2026 trash voucher program and to request guidance on how to move forward in a way that continues to support residents while reducing the administrative burden on the health department. In 2026, the health department issued over a total of 987 trash vouchers, representing a value of $24,725. Of those issued, 513 vouchers were deemed, totaling $12,685. So that cost the town $12,000. So we gave back $12,000 for disposal, especially when disposal costs are at that most high right now. While this program continues to be valuable resources for the residents, particularly in promoting the use of the Rockland Recycling Center for bulky waste disposal, the data shows that nearly half the voucher issues were not utilized. The current structure of the program requires significant administrative time. Vouchers are typically distributed between beginning of May to residents who meet the eligibility requirement, which is that your trash has to be paid in full. Distribution continues through September, with all vouchers expiring December. This process involves verifying eligibility, issuing vouchers, tracking distributions, managing follow-up inquiries, and all of which place a considerable demand on the office staff and the recycling center staff. As health department continues to undergo operational changes and to adjust to evolving responsibility, it's important to evaluate whether modification to this program could improve efficiency while maintaining its intended to benefit the residents. So I'm seeking guidance. So my first thing would be to get rid of the voucher program completely, right? Because it supports Amy, and it also supports our revolving account. $12,000 could be spent other ways for the community. I just think that would maybe cause an uproar.
Yeah, so my thought is not to take them away, because we do have a little bit of a high trash as is.
Ooh.
Well,
Yeah.
Compared to some towns.
We're
No?
we're low.
We're low.
We
We're
are
the lowest.
Yeah, we are amazing.
I just think that it's something that's great for the residents of Rockland.
I agree with you. So this was my proposal.
Okay.
So they could provide vouchers from July to September, and they expire in October.
Okay.
I have a question.
Sure.
How do they apply for these vouchers?
They have to come in.
Okay.
So typically what happened was, it was like a conveyor belt. They'd come in, they'd get their recycling sticker access, and then we would just automatically, if their account was paid, we would give them the voucher. And they're already coming in asking for the vouchers. So $25 per unit. So if you have a 3-family, you get $75. And for a regular family, it's $25.
I just wonder if the same people are applying and not using, if maybe that could disqualify them. And
So that was another thing that I
Yeah.
thought of.
Yeah.
But by the time of verifying if they picked it up last year, it's just another added step.
yeah.
So I just thought,
So maybe that's something that we can try this year, is to track who took them and who used them.
we do that anyway.
You
We do that, yeah. That's
Okay.
where I get my figures from.
Okay.
But I'm just saying, if Jack Smith came in and wanted his voucher, we would have to go to 2025, look and see if he used it, look and see if his account was paid in full,
Right.
and then figure it out. I just think the shorter time period for everything,
I'm okay with a shorter time period, as long as we don't take it away altogether. I think that it's a good resource for the town people.
so you're fine with issuing them July through September, and then they expire in October 30th. or October 31st?
I'm okay with that. I'm
Okay.
okay with shortening the time where people can come get their vouchers and they expire in October. I'm just not for getting rid of them.
And me neither.
Yeah.
Me neither. Yeah. I know there's a lot of people look forward to them.
Right. So I'll make a motion to change the time you can get the vouchers from July to September with an expiration date of October 30th.
I second that
Perfect.
motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and do we have a health agent report?
We sure do, but first of all, we're gonna hear from Town Administrator Doug Lapp.
Okay.
Let me just give you guys a piece of paper. I will explain.
Thank you.
So thanks for letting me assist Delshawn with the health agent report. I'm Doug Lapp, I'm the town administrator, for those of you that I haven't met. We've had an update to the town charter that kind of modernized a number of different things in our form of government, but in particular, it also modernized the way that we hire and manage staff. And so, given Delshawn's recent retirement announcement and the fact that this town charter was enacted in the law, about a month or two ago, I forgot the exact date, this was the first opportunity to actually implement this. And now the timing's perfect, it's right after your most recent election, so I wanted to update you on what we've done. So the town charter is essentially, the constitution for the town. It governs, how we're structured, how we operate, in addition to whatever state law is out there. So I just want to, if you'll indulge me for a minute, I just want to explain the process because it's different. What used to happen before we updated the charter, there was so much ambiguity in the previous version. There wasn't a lot of clarity, and so in that case, to hire a new health agent, because you're a public body, you're the Board of Health, everything you do has to be done in publicly posted. You have to interview people in public, and there can be a lot of issues with that, which we could get into if you want. So what the new charter says, and I'm going to kind of just skim over the areas highlighted in yellow. The town administrator shall appoint all non-elected department heads. And the town administrator shall consult with the appropriate elected or appointed board, commissioner, committee, or official, and the select board prior to making department head appointments. Prior to finalizing a department head appointment, the town administrator shall provide written notice to the select board of the anticipated appointment and terms and conditions of the appointment. The select board shall approve or disapprove the appointment within 20 days of receipt, and a failure of the select board to act in this 20-day period shall be considered approval. And any adjustment to the terms and conditions of employment for department heads or the termination or removal shall be subject to the town's personnel policy. So, just to kind of clarify what that means, in this instance, when I was made aware of Delshawn's retirement, I did follow both the spirit and the letter of this law, because this is a law, by the way. The charter is passed by the state legislature and the governor, so it actually is a law. I reached out to who was the then Board of Health chairman, CC'd the other board members with a sincere offer to consult, have any input they might have. I offered to attend a meeting, things like that. That prior chairman did not respond, didn't acknowledge the note. I know that he did receive it, but he didn't want to engage with that, so that box was checked. So there
Right,
wasn't-
and he didn't forward it to the other board members. At least I didn't get it.
Okay. So what we then did is we worked with our human resources director, and I assembled an internal team with other town staff, and we followed best practices for hiring people. We made sure the job description was up to date. I got Delshawn's input on that. We advertised in all the appropriate public places, the Mass Municipal Association, the town website, other places. We received lots of good applicants. We narrowed it down to 3 finalists to interview, and ultimately we selected Mr. Schultz, who I think you'll probably hear from in a little bit. I'm very excited to have him. So I then notified the select board in writing, again per the charter, that this was my selected candidate, and what this does, that I explained to a moment ago, is this gives the select board the opportunity, if for whatever reason they're not comfortable with this decision, you know, they could veto it if they wanted to, then I'd have to go back and present a different candidate. That was discussed at last night's select board meeting, and they unanimously endorsed the hiring. So I just wanted to make that part clear as far as process goes, and this is the type of process we do with all staff and certainly with all department heads, where it's transparent, it's public, it's, you know, run by our HR department, who's trained in that. And then if you just skim to the very bottom of that page, highlighted in yellow, another issue that the town charter update addressed is day-to-day operations of staff. Again, in the past, there was so much ambiguity in the charter, lack of clarity, that there was just a lot of tradition and customs where different elected boards handled things differently. Some were more hands-off, some tried to micromanage staff, and it got very confusing really who staff were reporting to. And it can be particularly difficult because many times people on elected boards or even appointed boards have day jobs, and they're working all day long, and they're not in the building all day like town staff and we are. So this makes it very clear that an elected board such as yourself, you have all the authority state law gives a local board of health. None of that changes. You have all the policy-making authority, just like all the decisions you made tonight about vouchers and hearings for Kratom and all that stuff. That is all in your purview. But the day-to-day management of staff does not fall under you. So, and it's also important because some staff, like Amy, is in a union. There's a collective bargaining agreement. We're very versed in how to navigate that. But so the day-to-day operations fall under me, but obviously you're the elected body, you set policy, you make all those policy decisions, and can certainly give kind of broad direction, just not day-to-day stuff. So that's a lot of change. I just wanted to make sure you guys were aware of it and give you an opportunity if you had any questions to ask me either now or later. I'm happy to answer any of them.
Okay, thank you. I don't have any at this time.
Neither do I. Thank you, Doug.
Great.
Thank
Well,
you, Doug.
And we're very excited to have Chris, but I'll turn it back to Delshanda, however you wanna.
Yes, I am so excited to have Chris. Just a little backstory on him. When I'm not available, they call him. So he has been to many of my housing inspections and condemnations, and I don't know about food. Have you done anything with food? But you will. He's a beast when it comes to what's the word? I'm blanking out on certain words. But anyway, he is great at following up. He uses the same food inspectors that we do. He does the same thing that I do. Goes back, does the re-inspect. And so I'm so excited to have Chris fill these high heel shoes.
Welcome, Chris.
And with that said, too, I want to welcome Jennifer Louise Smith.
Wow,
Thank you so much. This is altogether kind of bittersweet, right? Because for the last 9 years, it's been challenging. So anyway, after more than 20 years of service, I want to share with the Rockland community that I will be retiring from the town of Rockland. Oh, are you kidding me?
You gonna cry?
You got it. You got
No
it.
I'm
water-
not going to
no
cry.
water work.
I haven't. Have I? No. Okay. So anyway, effective May 13th. This decision comes with mixed emotions. My time here has truly been a journey. At times challenging, at times incredibly rewarding. But without question, the good has outweighed the difficult moments, believe it or not. I've had the privilege of not only serving the community professionally, but I've also personally, I raised my son here, built lifelong friendships through our schools, and connected with so many residents, colleagues, and community members who've made lasting impact of my life. Okay, I'm not doing this. This is so bad. Okay. Rockland will always hold a very special place in my heart. Over the years, we faced our share of obstacles together, from 2019 trash strike to navigating the unprecedented challenges of COVID-19. From 2020 to 2022, these were times that tested all of us. Through those moments, the strength, the resilience, and dedication of the community truly stood out. There were also internal challenges along the way. At times, the work of the health department was impacted by difficulties of the board level. I share not this to dwell on the past, but because it's important for the future. The effectiveness of the department is directly tied to the strength, stability, and commitment of our leadership. With that in mind, I strongly encourage residents to stay engaged, informed when it comes to local elections. Please take the time to support and vote for Board of Health members who are committed to work and who understand the responsibility of the role and who are motivated by service, not simply familiarity or popularity. Strong leadership matters, and it has a direct impact on health and well-being of the entire community. Despite the challenges, I leave with gratitude. Gratitude for opportunities, the relationships, and the experience that have shaped both my career and my life. It's been an honor to serve the residents of Rockland. Thank you for all allowing me to be a part of this community for over 2 decades.
Thank you, Delshon.
Cue the duck boats. I want a parade.
I want to thank you too, because it wasn't a smooth transition with you and I, but we got close over the last few years, and I thank you for teaching me what you've taught me, and
Thank you.
you'll go on and do some bigger and better things.
I sure will.
You're going to be a hands-on Grammy.
Yes. Sorry, guys. You know I'm very passionate about my job. You all know that, right? I thank you guys too here tonight. Thank you.
You're welcome. So was that our health agent report?
That was my goodbye, my farewell.
So I make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.